Chapela Matsoga. And it took Unkide Nako just to come and spend and give us 10 minutes of some inspirational nuggets. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a round of applause. We can do much better than that.
Dumelang. Can you all hear me at the back there? Including Kaiser Chiefs supporters. And the other team in Manchester as well. I have a TV that is 5 years old. And then on that TV, we've never seen Manchester United hosting a cup. But thank you very much, Simpio, for inviting me. I want to talk about a few things, but I want to illustrate them through an example. So I want to talk about the fact that you must never give up. You must never ask for sympathy. You must keep on trying. You must ask for help. You must ask for people to mentor you. And I'll do it by giving example of myself. So that you can at least understand where I come from and where I am. And as Simpio has indicated, I'm currently the CEO of the Black Business Council. And I do have amongst other qualifications, I've got a master's in business leadership from UNISA. And I've done most of my qualifications through correspondence, which means you have to have a certain of discipline to do things like that. And I serve on various boards. So maybe as a start, I was born in a rural area in Limpopo. And then some years ago, I'm sure most of you, or all of you were not born by that time. So I was raised in a village. I know some of the people who are from the township may not understand what the village is. You call people from the village that they come from the Plasing. So you may not understand. So the village is in a way below the township from services point of view. So there was no electricity. We used to study using candles and so on. So when there's load shedding like now, we feel it, but we don't necessarily feel it that way. We cannot commit suicide because there's load shedding. By the time we were exposed to electricity, I think I was almost 25 years old. So I had a mother. My mother was a general worker and a helper, and my father, who passed away, was basically very, very sick. So he was not able to work, and we were still 8 in the family. So I'm number 2 in the family of 8. So that is 8 children, not 8 in total. So I started school at the age of 6, and there was no any particular reason for that. It was just because I was a little bit taller. During our time, when you go to school, they will ask you to touch this ear here with the hand. So the shorter people had to wait for longer before they start their schooling. So Simpio, maybe you'll have started 2 years after me. So most of the time we didn't have food because obviously my mother was not working. We didn't have shoes when we go to school. We didn't have clothes. And I remember at some stage when I was doing standard 8, I think it's called grade 10. I wanted to leave school because I saw my mother was struggling. So I thought maybe let me leave school and go and help my mother to raise the siblings. Unfortunately, my mother always had a serious foresight, and she said no. So what then I did, I decided to, those who are familiar with the villages, we've got people who've got cattle, people who've got sheep. So I went to one of the people who've got cattle and then decided to say, let me help you with the looking after the cattle during the weekend. And then they paid me with milk. So I'll then take the milk, take it home and give it to my siblings to feed them. And then high school, I was always almost the youngest in class. And the distance from where we stayed and where the high school was around 8 to 10 kilometers, where we have to walk every day. And even now people are still walking, so not much has necessarily changed. So I completed my matric at 17, and that's when then reality started, because you complete, and then the following year all my friends went to tertiary institutions. They went to varsity, all of them, and I was left at the village alone. And you can just imagine the stress that comes with that. And I'm telling you this story is not that you must feel pity for me, but so that some of you or even one person may relate to the story. But at the end of the day, you should not give up. So I didn't have money. Then I had to say, but let me try and find some odd jobs. I did some odd jobs. On the third year after finishing matric, I became a teacher for a year. I became an assistant teacher for a year. I was teaching maths and maths, economics, and accounting. And I saved that money for that year, and then I used that money to pay for my first year. And the money was not even enough for the year. It was only enough for 6 months. So I paid for 6 months. I got a bursary for the other 6 months, and then I passed at the end of the year. And then we then had second year, where I was. It was part of those who are older enough, or those who understand history. It was part of what is called Buputatswana. And then the following year there were some riots. Students were striking, and then they checked us out. So imagine I already finished my money during the first semester. I got a bursary for the second semester. Then the following year you got checked from school. And I decided to say that let me try luck, and I applied to the then West Technicon, which was like a white institution, which is now part of University of Johannesburg. And unfortunately, I got admitted with no money, but I managed to get a bursary and to get money to eat and all those things. I had to work after school during weekends, doing stock taking. I even worked at those who are older enough will know there was a starter fort in Eastgate. So I used to work at starter forts every Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday, and I think that then made me to be able to complete my education, and as they say, the rest is history. And so I'm telling you that story so that you can understand that wherever you are, if you don't have parents, the parents have passed away, or they are fighting, they've divorced. Don't focus on the parents. Focus on yourself, and ask for help from other people. I always had mentors. Even now I've got people who are mentoring me, and I've approached them as strangers, people that I did not even know, and people were able to help me. So as you are sitting there, you've got a business, you're trying to study, ask strangers. Out of 10, if one assists you out of 10, it's a 10% success. It will help you. So don't sit there with your problems and feeling pity for yourself, because unfortunately, when you tell people your problems, some of them, they go and rejoice. So go and ask help. Ask those who are interested in helping you, and don't give up. So I think that basically I just want to leave you with that, with those words, that it's possible if you put your mind on it. It's possible if you don't give up, and it's possible if you ask help from other people. They will be able to help you. Thank you.
Good. Let's give. Thank you so much. Who left? Is this your phone? Oh, it's your phone. Okay, that's fine. It's safe. We're going to have the last keynote for 15 minutes, and then we will be ready to prepare for tomorrow. The man that I'm about to introduce, I think Hank is talking about mentors. This man is my mentor. When I started in business, it's one of the few guys that I looked up to him. He was once the CEO of Kagiso Trust, involved in a number of businesses. He sits on a number of boards. He's the recent former chair of MMI Holdings, Baba Onang Metropolitan, and all that. He's the former Makulu boss. And he has contributed from his personal account to this project, not from a business. He said, look, I believe in this, and I know he doesn't want me to say that, but we need to celebrate and wax lyrical about people who cares for young people. And he's one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ubaba UJJ Njeke to come and give us a closing keynote address. We can do much better than that. Much better than that. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I have the benefit of talking to you after the person who really took you to a high, talking about cannabis. I hope that when things go well and his business is flying, he will make a big contribution to this initiative. I would like, first of all, to congratulate Simpiwe for organizing this event. I know that he is very passionate about the work that is taking place here, and I really think it's a worthy cause to really assist young people who want to journey into business. Entrepreneurship is something that we should encourage in this country, particularly because, our government is struggling to create employment. We are challenged by poverty, unemployment, and I think also the most unequal society that we live in. And I think as young people, you really should embrace opportunities like this and make a difference. When I was, reflecting on today's event, I read a little bit about a speech that was made by Tyler Perry at the BET Awards in 2019, where he was being awarded the Ultimate Icon Award. And there were three things that I picked up from that speech. The first one was, he was talking about an old man that he met at an intersection. He was going to school, and this old man kept saying, "Can someone help me cross?" He wanted to cross the road. And Tyler Perry felt pity for this old man and helped him cross. And he then says this became a motto in his life, that he must think about those individuals who are looking for help to cross. And for me, this session is probably one of those initiatives that will help some of you, and I hope maybe most of you, to cross into the entrepreneurship space as you wish. I think the second point that he makes, which is quite interesting, I mean, when I think about BEE, I mean, in most instances, I mean, some of us who have observed and maybe participated in BEE, I mean, we always talk about getting a seat at the table. I mean, you want to have a seat at the table. And he speaks about, you know, this notion of a seat at the table. And he says, while people are busy fighting to get a seat at the table, he says, I was on my way to Atlanta to build my studios. And he said, because I wanted to build my own table, and I know that God will prepare it for me in the presence of my enemies. And therefore, this journey is about you preparing your own table. I mean, not to look for somebody, I mean, who has a table and you say, can I sit next to you at this table? But, I mean, you are on your own to prepare a table for yourself. And then lastly, he says to those who are in this room, and he says, there are individuals out there whose lives are tied to your dream. So if you think about it, in your business, when you start your business, you will have people who will walk in and out every day helping you to build your business. And their lives are tied to the dream that you have in your own mind. So get on with it and build your own stuff. I was thinking about what can I say to you about running a business, because obviously there are certain things that are important, and I just thought maybe I should share some tips with you, and I hope I will not bore you, I mean, and you think this guy is giving us a lecture about business management. But maybe those are things that could help you as you journey in your entrepreneurship endeavors. But one of the things that is critical, I mean, and an important value, I mean, in building a business. You know, one guy wrote a book called Good to Great. I mean, his name is called Jim Collins. And he says, I mean, great leaders are people who demonstrate humility, professionalism, and workmanlike diligence. People who must, I mean, you must have the drive to build the business. You must not, I mean, I always say to my son, you know, when I go to my work in the morning, I said, you know, when you run your business, you worry about that business 24 hours a day, because you have people who you must pay at the end of the month. They don't know your financial position. All they know is that I've worked and I deserve to be paid. And therefore, it's up to you to make sure that you keep the business running, and those people who support you are rewarded properly. But I mean, some of the thoughts I have about, I mean, starting a business are about just doing homework. Let's assume you want to run a shisanyam. So you say, okay, here in Orange Farm, I'm going to look for, there's this area where I'm going to open a shisanyam. The first thing you must do is to understand, is there anybody else who runs a shisanyama in this vicinity? And if that person is there, how does his or her business operate? What are the trading hours? How many how many people do come to this establishment to come and have good time, meat, and food. And then also, I mean, because at the end of the day, if you are going to take this concept and develop it into a business plan, you must have some basic information that you can take to, say, to the bank if you want the bank to help you to fund, or whoever is going to fund it. And therefore, you must look intelligent about this business. You must know something about it and not just say, I think it will be a good idea to sell meat. But I mean, how much meat can you sell in a day? How many people will come and buy into your business? So those are some of the little things. You don't need to hire a research firm to do, that research for you. But basic information about the business that you are planning to start. Secondly, you must be disciplined about your business. You must not today start a chisanyama and tomorrow you see somebody renting out, marquees and chairs, and you think this is a better business. Because suddenly, the requirements for that business are different to a chisanyama. And also, if you believe that you are in the right space, stick to it. You can't chop and change every day because, these different businesses need capital and also, different numbers of people that you must employ, different quality of employees for the different businesses. One person who really put this, in a much better way than I'm expressing it, is a gentleman called Steven Schwarzman, who runs one of the large investment firms in the world. He says, at some point in life, figure out who you are and pursue opportunities that are right for you, not someone else's false dream created by others. It must be your dream, not somebody else's dream. Entrepreneurship also requires perseverance. You can't, after a week of starting a business, when you see that maybe you've only served 3 portions of shisanyama in that week, and then you think, no, I'm quitting, I'm going to start something different. Because, obviously, people don't know your business. You must market your business as, the master class was saying, market your business, get people to know about it. And in time, it will take, maybe, in most instances, people will, when they do business plans, they'll say, this business will take 3 years for me to make good money. And in most instances, it takes double the time you've estimated to get the business to the right, levels of profitability. The other point that I think is important is to listen to market feedback. You must have, a few people that you bounce off, some ideas with. Obviously, not people who will steal your business concept, but maybe somebody who is in business already and say, this is what I'm thinking. What are the things, that you can see that are potential, problems in the business I want to run? Because that will help you to really improve the quality of your concept to ensure that you have better chance of success. Because on your own, you will sometimes not see the pitfalls in the business that you want to run. So that feedback from the market is always important to inform your business. Obviously, there will be those who will rubbish you and tell you that this thing can never work. But there are others who will help you to say, let's shape it. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that? And therefore, you then end up with a much improved business plan. Focus on profitable growth. It's always nice to grow your business. But I always say to, people who are starting new businesses, don't grow too quickly. Because it requires capital. Capital in the form of people that you must employ, because if you are growing your business, you need more hands, more bodies, and you also need more money, to grow the business. So make sure that as you grow, you build the backup infrastructure to support the business. Because otherwise, you will end up giving customers bad service or giving people poor product. So you must manage your growth properly and make sure that you grow, with the necessary resources that are required. And one of the pitfalls sometimes in running a business, particularly when you are driving growth, is to focus on turnover and forget that you must also manage your working capital. Because if you are growing your business, let's say you were selling 100 pieces of meat a day and suddenly you want to go to 200. You must buy more meat, you must have more cookers. So that is important. So, because if you end up, with fewer people than is required, then people will have to wait for a long time and then you may end up losing customers. So it's important to make sure that all the necessary levers in growing that business are taken care of. And I always say to people, turnover is good, but cash pays your bills. It is cash that pays the bills, not turnover. So if you drive turnover by giving people, and people, come and you give them credit and they don't pay, you still need cash to buy stock. You still need cash to pay, the people who work for you. So you need to make sure that those disciplines are in place. And one of the things that is important in a business is to commit to quality. Why is quality important? If people receive good service or your product is good, they will generally come back to you. But if you give them, let's say, rotten food, abantu mabefika apha bathi, "Hey, lesinkwa sibolile mara." But why does he still sell it to us instead of giving it to the pigs? Then you are chasing away your customers. Whereas if they always come to your place and they find fresh bread, a smile, when you service them, and your product, whatever it is, you can talk about the product. No, don't take this one. This is better for you. It actually improves, the quality of your business, because people believe that even when you have made a mistake and you've given them wrong advice, but sometimes they trust you. They end up building a trust relationship with you as, the person who serves them. So that is always very important. One other point is you must know when you have a lucky break, and don't always, tap yourself and think you've done great. Sometimes you just have a lucky break, and things happen quicker for you than, but don't count yourself as being too smart, because sometimes, Lady Luck smiles on you. As I begin to close, because I don't want to bombard you with lots of stuff, but I just want to say that, the journey of running a business is always, an interesting one and also a difficult one. I just want to share a story with you of, the person I spoke about earlier, this guy, I said he runs Blackstone, one of the big investment funds. In his biography, he relates a story. He used to be, he used to work for Lehman Brothers, when one of the big US investment banks. And he says when he left with his partner, they were trying to raise money. So they went to MIT University to talk to the guys who run the pension fund there. Says it was on a Friday. They went there. They had flown. It's like you fly from here to Cape Town to go and talk to these people who manage funds there. And then when they get there, they had a confirmed appointment for 3 o'clock. And the security says, "No, the guys are not here. It's a Friday. They are gone for the week." And he says, "But we had an appointment confirmed. We flew there. And the guy I was with was my former boss. He was the MD of Lehman Brothers, but we left and decided to start this business. He says we were devastated. We were not sure whether this is the right thing to do. And so I'm saying to you that when you start a business, you will have moments where you feel despair and despondent and you think that this thing will never work. But it happens to even those who have occupied higher echelons in business. When you start, people need to trust the concept and believe in what you are trying to do. So don't despair. I just want to say in closing that, sometimes some of us may sound wise and maybe sound like we've seen it all. But if I can tell you, I'm just a son of a priest. My parents never owned a business. They never even had a spaza shop. So don't allow your background to define. No one can extinguish that flame in your heart to be an entrepreneur. If this is your calling, go for it and make your own table, and God will prepare it for you in the presence of your enemies. I thank you.
Wow, he prepares my table before my enemies. Sure, you must succeed and then and have what I call unhappy admirers. You know those guys? So that you succeed, even those that hate you, they recommend you, And thank you so much. I don't think we're going to take questions because of time. But if our register, make sure you do register. Tomorrow, unfortunately, when we reach 2,000, we're going to cut off. You need to be here. And we're sorry, guys, it's because of COVID. And then it's because of the planning. High rate 2,000. I think today we're sitting at, and we wish we can accommodate everybody. I get a COVID area 2,000. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I think we need to talk to the engineers of the virus. I so feel we're still under the pandemic. That's number one. Number two, make sure you register. We have your details in our database. Are we all together? Thirdly, I love the commitment you guys have shown. You stayed until now. And give yourself a round of applause. It really means commitment. It means nothing but commitment, and we appreciate you for that. Then we'll see you tomorrow in the morning. We have some exciting entertainment. We also have the Deputy Minister of Education, that Manamela, will come and address us. But we have a number of opportunities we'll be presenting to you, colleagues, tomorrow morning. Don't be late. The registration starts at 7. I hope we'll close at 9, because we're starting at 9 exactly. Please make sure you arrive on time. We'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget to tweet about it. Take pictures outside. Go to the exhibition stands. Opportunities are still there. As forget John Week in Tuana while Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.